Hi guys, welcome back to the Black Birdshed. I'm going to give you an update on the chicks that we had which had fledged 2 weeks ago. They're starfinch ones. Right, so they're doing really well. Now there was a young one, quite a small one, which on the, if you look back at the last video, was quite a bit behind really. And at the moment it's hard to tell which one it is. They're doing really well. They're absolutely gorgeous little chicks. You can tell they're starfinches if you look carefully at the back. So if you were to look at the rump, of course they're facing towards us now, so can't really see that. And there was in the wrong perch, there we go. It's slightly red. Can't really see there. Maybe that one. Zoom in there. Slightly red. So if you saw these chicks in an aviary and you weren't sure from which birds they were from, that little red bit on the rump would tell you that they are starfinches. When they're adults, that it's more prominent, and obviously when they're adults, it's obvious it's a starfinch, red haired. That's a good shot of them. Now these are there's the cock, mother. Now they fledged about 2 weeks back, and she's already on more eggs. So in the nest here, I'll put little marks on the top there so I know how many we've got. So there's 6 eggs in here, and there's at least, I believe there's at least 3 fertile ones in there. The others could be just a little bit behind, so that's good news. Now what I'm going to do eventually is, probably next week, before these are due to hatch, which is around about the 24th. Today is 17th, so we've got about a week. So maybe, well, I'm off Friday, so maybe Friday I will move these young over to this. Just basically going to pull this partition out, and we'll move those across to there, and I'll ring them at the same time, and then they'll be in here with these other starfinches, of which I think there's 2 pairs. It's just whether that is a cock, that one with the yellow head, which I thought was a cock. We have 5 eggs in this nest as well now. I'm not sure from which bird that these are from, because we have got a gouldian finch hen in here, which is the mother of the ones we had last year, and it could be she's just laying those, but I'm hoping it's one of those hen starfinches. Up here we had some eggs from a gouldian finch pair. They didn't turn out to be fertile. Let's have a look. And they stopped sitting anyway. They didn't hatch. At the moment, let's have a look. No, they haven't. I took them out. Nothing's happened since. So yeah, at the moment it's been quite mild in the UK, so a lot of the birds are back out in the aviary, and doing well. No one's nesting out there though. We have got a pair nesting up here. Now this is last year's dad, which is the orange head, greenback, purple breast cock, and in there he's with his daughter, the white breasted black head, which we tried last year, or tried earlier on this year, right at the beginning of the year, to breed with, and they were unsuccessful. It didn't really sit. But this time, as you can see, that she's not in the cage, she's in the nest, and he's been feeding her, so I've got some confidence there. Don't know if they're going to be fertile, but we've got 5 eggs in there, so we'll maybe expect another 1, and then we'll keep an eye on those and see how well they're doing. So got a few sets, sets of pairs, up. So set of gouldians. Something's going on in here. I've seen the same birds that were nesting in that one looking in this box. So let's have a look in here. Let's see if anything's going on. No, nothing in there at the moment. Let's use the torch. No, although there's no eggs in there, all this nesting material on the top, that's fresh. So yeah, there's some action there. What I need to do is make sure I've got some more of this sort of stuff for them to use. So we'll just put that in there and let them use that. They've got loads of stuff outside which they can bring in to put in there as well, but they look like there's quite a bit of this in the nest towards the top part of it. So, and I have seen golden finches going in and out of that. That would be the white-breasted male with a red head, and could be one of two hens. Could be the lilac-breasted hen, or it could be the one he paired up before with, which is the quite large bird, purple-breasted black head. Yeah, so that's something to keep an eye on. That's the thing, you've got to keep an eye on these nests, and it's good that they're on the outside of the cage, because you can just peep in and whatever. So we're looking at keeping an eye on that. So they've probably vacated that and using this one instead. I've been checking this one, there's nothing in there. We have had some losses. Yeah, so unfortunately we've lost a few birds, which is always a shame. One of the owl finches has passed. It was very light and obviously eating a lot, so quite weak, and I thought it wouldn't last, and the day after it was dead. That was about 3 days ago. We've lost I think we lost a silver bill. This last year we've not had any silver bill chicks, which is really disappointing. But previously they've been very successful. I've had lots of silver bills, and basically what we've got is a bit of a colony of silver bills. But perhaps I need to bring some new blood into that colony, and perhaps get them out of the aviary and into some cages so they can just concentrate on that. So yeah, I'm probably looking to getting some new blood into the silver bills, probably some of the fawn, or fawn birds or light birds. But with the ones I've got, perhaps get them in a cage. But I've still got lots of work to do in the shed, which I haven't really done for this last year. Still got this section down here where I was going to set up a similar cage from here, so that it just carries on round, and that would give me a section which I could concentrate on silver bills if I wanted to. What else we lost? We're still doing pretty good on the chestnut mannikins. We've the 3 younger, I think 2 of them are pretty much fledged out perfect, and there's one that's a little bit behind, but they're all very good condition, so that's good. And so hopefully we can do something with them and get some more. That's him feeding her now. Oh, he's popped off. I just heard him feeding her there. That was her screaming for food. They have took in turns on the nest as well, so that's always a good sign. The cock and the hen are sharing. Pretty much, they're doing good. Oh, down the bottom here we have got eggs. Oh, the Bengalese. Now obviously I'm used to Bengalese for, there's the hen. I use these for fostering, but I've got nothing to put in there at the moment. I've put a few eggs in there and they have hatched. And then they've not looked after them, but it's been hit and miss really. There've been ones I've taken out of the aviary. At the moment there's about 5 eggs in there, and I don't know if they're ones I put in or whether they're ones from them. I'll just leave it as it is. Just keep checking it every couple of days and we'll see how we get on. Yeah, we've had one of the loss as well, which I found this morning, which is very disappointing. It's always disappointing when you name a bird, you give it its own little name and then it passes, because it's a bit more personal to yourself. Robbie Bobson which is a play on words. My friend used to say Bobby Robson, so Bobby Robson was Robbie Bobson, and he's a Hawks parakeet, so B, so I called him Robbie Bobson. Yeah, I found him dead this morning. Not on the floor, he was on the on top of one of the nest boxes, so not sure what happened there, because they have quite a long lifespan. He had no rings on his legs, so I couldn't say what age he was. Quite a big bird. Yeah, so a Lulu, which is the Latino Borks, and she's on her own, so I will be looking to get a new one to go with her. So maybe looking at getting a pink one, you know, a Latino or a Rubino, or I'm not sure what they're all called, but there's a possibility I might get a replacement for him. And I think I'm looking to feed them differently. I have been feeding them mainly seed, millet, and not a lot of fruit, and they do have a mixture of other seeds. I'll get the mix that I've been giving them. Yeah, so this is the mix. So we have sunflower seeds, and then I put a mix in, which is one of these ones you have to wean pet ones onto. It's got different coloured biscuits. There's quite a lot of millet in there, so I would have thought these would have had the sort of vitamins that they require. But they do have a dry mix really, and although I put yeah, although it's quite a lot of this in there as well. I forget what it's called. Put that back. Yeah, although I put broccoli in there, they don't really peck at the broccoli, but I do need to think about getting some fruit into there. Here's one of the chestnut mannikins there. Now, see what he's doing with his neck there? He's not coloured up really, he hasn't got the band on his front at all much, but he was sort of showing a sort of a cock, as if he was a cock bird there. He was with his neck straight up, and although he wasn't singing, he looked like he was singing. So maybe that's a cock bird. That's one with a purple band. I've got to keep an eye on that one. But I do know there's another one in there. It's definitely a cock that's been singing, and they have quite a little chirp on them as well. Quite a distinctive chirp. Yeah, the Bengalese that yeah, the ones that we had that fledged a month ago. Yeah, that's in a previous video. There's one of them up there. That's the pied one. They're doing well in there, and so are these Irish, these pied Irish. And yeah, I've noticed there's a few cocks in there. They're starting to whistle a little bit now, some of them. I've got to decide, there's the third one up there. So I've got to decide on what I'm doing with the canaries this year. This last year was very disappointing. Mainly because I didn't get the pairings right. So it's really down to me. But also, I mean, to be fair, I got the pairings wrong, and I still managed, I think, 10 birds. So the year before, which it seemed to be working perfectly, really. We had pairs in all of these nest breeding cages, plus pairs down here. Probably a pair here as well. We had about 8 or 9 pairs going, and did 50 birds. A lot of those birds were just ones that I wasn't going to keep anyway. But yeah, that was very successful. So I suppose, considering we only really had 2 cockbirds in the colour canaries, and the 1 hen bird in the Irish, out of sort of 6 birds, 10 isn't too bad. But I really did rely on the Irish, the hen. There's 5 of those 10 birds are Irish. There was only the 1 hen, so she managed to give us 5 birds. I suppose individually, I think I look back at it, it wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't set up right. And this year coming this next season, not 2023, but I'll make sure that I definitely get the right pairings. And I think I'm gonna, instead of trying for 8, 9 pairs, because there's enough cages, I'm gonna try and make it so that I've got a limited amount. Possibly keep some of the Fao coloured canaries. Try and get a pair of those, or maybe 2 pairs, but not any more than that, really. And perhaps keep a few spare hens if there's backup, and try and concentrate on the Irish. Maybe we can get the Irish set up in these 4 cages, 4 pairs, which means I'm going to need 4 hens at least. Well, now I've got 1 hen, and she's quite old, but she's been successful 2 years in a row. I've got to make sure I've got another 3 at least hens. And when I buy them from pet shop and they say they're a hen, you know, can't rely on that. Obviously that didn't work last year. Went into last year pretty confident we had 3 pairs, and it turned out that 2 of the hens that I was told was a hen were cocks. So yeah, it didn't work out right at all. So I've got to keep a close eye on these birds, and perhaps get them into individual cages earlier on, and just see whether they start to sing or not sing, and eliminate it that way. But because when a bird sings, you think you could be quite confident that it's a cock bird, and if it doesn't sing, well, it could be just that it's a cock bird that hasn't started singing yet. There's a bird that's singing. That's that Fao one there. That's a nice bird. So that's a bird I'll be keeping. He is exactly like his mother though. So now, I haven't colour fed any of these birds this year. I've also got quite a few birds which I bought, and they just, that's a hen on there. I haven't colour fed that one. That was a lot redder than that when I got it. I haven't colour fed it at all this year. It's actually got some lovely colours on it. Now if I put that one with a Fao, I think if we can breed from it, that will be a lovely bird. In fact, I love the colours now. I prefer those colours to when it's all coloured up with the red food. So not a lot going on, but it just keeps you up to date with where we are with those young star finches. There's one begging for food there. So they're not fully weaned. I mean, that might be the one that was the small. There she is, beautiful. And that's the cock they're feeding. So I've got another week at least really before I can move those birds on. Oh, fantastic. You might see that the floor of these cages looks quite dirty. I let them forage on the floor quite a bit. I don't clean them out too much. A lot of this stuff that's on the floor is seed that's just been tossed out of there. Some perfectly good seed in there, and there is it's a sawdust mix. I use this stuff down here. This sort of stuff I use. That's from Ponderosa in Cheltenham, and then the seed sort of mixes in with that a little bit. I just feel it gives a bit more of a natural sort of ground cover, but if I was to clean it out once a week, I probably should do that. And a lot of this stuff in here is husks, so it's quite soft on their feet. You know, if there was a lot of muck in there, then I would be cleaning them out. This one does need cleaning out now. This has got canaries, really messy. I think might be a reason why I'm going to probably think about going down the Irish route, as well as that they're a smaller bird. I like the look of them. They don't tend to fetch as much money as coloured birds, red factors and whatever else, but there's less mess from them, which is because they're a smaller bird. And there's one of the chestnut mannikins there again. And that one's got the bar on its chest. And it's with one of the other ones. Yeah, so I've got to carefully look at all these birds and just figure out which one's cocks and hens. With those chestnut mannikins, it's going to be a matter of, now that one with the bar on, that's doing that little dance now as well. So that's doing that. It's not jumping up and down, but it's got its head feathers up. It's a nice, it's taking quite a time to fledge out to adult plumage. I mean, they're quite a few months old now. There's one of the parents. That's the, I think that was the hen. There's another, that one in front again. See a big difference in the colour. Yeah, they do take a time to, fledge out. Same with the starfinches, and we had the starfinches in. It's written down here. So those ones will be sold to Ponderosa. Yeah, some of those were Christmas Eve. We had some hatch, and we had the other ones hatch in February. Well, they're only one of the ones I gave him, sold him, was still hadn't quite got the feathers coming perfect for its head, and we sold that like a couple of weeks back. So, and that's October, isn't it? So yeah, 8 months is a long time for a bird to come out to adult plumage. But then I think with the starfinches, they've got to be over a year before they start to breed. Perhaps you're looking at, I don't know if anyone else has the same experience, but the pair that I have got which is breeding well, I had them for a year before they even, I had them for well over a year really, before they actually paired up and started breeding. And it wasn't really only until the end of last year that they started to breed. And also we had those chicks which we had in December, and they had, if you look back at old videos, they had laid some eggs in a nest outside, and made a nest in a bush. So they will make a nest in a bush, and make a lovely little nest. Because it's not warm enough weather, which it wasn't sort of November last year, it didn't happen. Brought them inside, and that's when they started to breed. I put them in the very bottom case, kept them out of the way, so that they would be. She's feeding now. Is that him? Yeah, so I had them down here last year, and we had a bit of foliage in front to protect, to sort of give them a bit more privacy. I thought that they need privacy. When we breed birds down there, it's quite hard to catch the babies, the young after, because she's so low down. But it was okay. But at least they're sort of out the way, they don't get bothered so much. They only really see your legs, so it's as you're walking around. So yeah, that worked. But now they seem a good pair. Now, after the first two clutches they had, which was the end of December, so end of 2021, and what they've had in February, I put them out into the aviary, and I've let them out there all day, all summer. They haven't bred during the summer. They've been interacting with the other young that was out there, because we had at least 9, I think was it 10 or 12 young. I think we had a 5 and a 6, can't remember if I look back. Yeah, we had quite a few starfinches out there amongst other birds, and I think they just get a bit distracted and a little bit, they interact with the other birds quite a bit, and they're teaching them, and I think it's nice, that is, but because they don't concentrate on breeding. Yeah, so now I've brought them back in again, they're sort of straight back on it again. But I think a lot of these birds I've got in the aviary, they do need to be brought in. To be fair, all the gouldian finches are in breeding condition. There's the cockbird, which I believe is nesting in here with, I think, well, it's one of them 2 hens there. So it's either the big one there, which he has. They have had 2 young with this year, early this year, of which one's alive and one did perish. But He's a lovely bird, he is. I do like a white. Oh no, the white bird's just come out of there. So that hen is in there. Let's have a look. Got my little stool there, which I use. I'm going to use the torch. I'm just going to flip the top up and I'm going to look in. Nothing in there. Does the nest look like it's been? Yeah, it does. Well, it looks like there's fresh bedding in there. So, look, it's hard to say. I don't know whether this is common or whether this happens a bit, but there's a possible chance that he's got two hens. I thought they paired up to, you know, as a pair only, but there's a possible chance that the smaller, this one here, is lilac breasted, it might be purple breasted hen. That's a purple breasted, yeah, that purple breasted black-headed hen, which is one I bred last year, maybe making a nest in there. And this one, which I brought in, which is quite a big bird, that's a hen, might be nested in there, and he might be the father. There's one of the big young, the people it's head through. And that one's taken a long time to moult out as well. So yeah, you know, gouldian finches take quite a time, at least 6 to 8 months to fully get into their adult plumage. I do find that they molt out better when they're in the aviary, and out and about, flying around and having regular baths in the water that's out there. Yeah, so that's about it really. Yeah, so I didn't think this video was going to be too long. I thought I was just going to update you on the star finches and the fact we've got some eggs. Fingers crossed, but you know, I've waffled on a bit. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and let's see. So he's looking at that nesting material there, so I'm going to put some more in. You know, he must have just chuck a load in there. I'll just put this in as well. Also, I'm going to put something in I'll put some of this in, which is Sharpie. That's distinctively a different colour, so if I see that in the nests, then I know that they're definitely doing something in those nests. Put a little bit of that in as well. Move it around. They don't need any more there. Yeah, this nesting material hasn't really worked. This is the stuff which I got from a bedding company, from a bedding manufacturer down in Plymouth while I was visiting with work. It's horsehair. I haven't seen it in any really in a massive use in any of the nests really. I thought because it was going to be quite springy that it would be useful. Put a bit of that in there. I've got a hell of a lot of it. And this has been successful. It was March this year. I was up in Scotland and we went to the beach at Ayr, and I did a video on that. And a lot of this stuff here is roots from a grass that is on the dunes, and this stuff here is either silk or bamboo, which is again from bedding, using bedding, making mattresses. There's a bit of a mixture of stuff in there. Just chuck that in. Just gives them something else to mess and play around with. got natural soft and safe bedding. Yeah, from the kapok pods. They're like a pod. It's got like a corn on the top sort of shape. And if you break them open, you can buy them pet shops in that form. And then this is a bedding that you can really, I think it's more suitable for the canaries, to be fair. If I put it in there, it's just, I mean, if it just helps them with their boredom. Got lots of that as well. And here we've got dark something wild bird nesting wool. In the wild, obviously birds would get nesting. They pick it up from everywhere, and obviously when sheep rub against fences and stuff, their wool comes off like this, and that's definitely something that could be used in nature. I don't expect any of this to be used, really. You never know, it might be. Yeah, this is something I bought and I never used. I mean, a bird would get in there, but if it starts making a nest in there, I'm never going to be able to like remove eggs or anything. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Unless I can work out a way of opening it up and sort of touching it again, which maybe I could. Yeah, don't know what to do with that. I'll put that in. Maybe in that there. Anyway, right. I've waffled on too much. Right, so yeah, thanks very much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Hopefully in the next few weeks we'll have some videos on chicks being, they've hatched. Possibly up there, golden finches, more starfinch, possible starfinches there. Something work, perhaps some completed nests in these two golden finches here. So yeah, I look forward to seeing that. Thanks again, and yeah, we'll see you soon. Take care.